If you're looking to become a developer, there's probably lots of questions that you have. In fact, you've probably been asking those questions to a lot of different people. Maybe you've been asking them on YouTube comments, or maybe you've been asking them to people on LinkedIn, but chances are you've got a lot of questions. However, I think there's three really important questions that you should ask yourself before you just dive into becoming a developer. Don't forget, if you have a question that you'd like to ask or a topic that you'd like me to cover in an upcoming video, leave a comment below or head over to devmentordave.com and fill out the Ask Dave form. Hey Junior Devs, Dev Mentor Dave here, helping you bridge the gap from learning to code to launching a successful career. If you want that successful career, you've got to start by making sure that development really is something that you want to do. In order for you to be successful, you have to answer three maybe a little bit odd questions that will really help you determine if this is the right career path for you. Now, there's lots of other questions that you could ask, but I think these, though they're a little strange, really are very important to helping you not only understand what you're getting yourself into, but also whether or not this is something that you really want to do full time. Okay, question number one, do I like computers? Now, that may seem like a really weird question for somebody who wants to be a developer, but let me explain why I'm asking that. See, I've actually taught people web development both in an online setting as well as in a classroom setting. And what's interesting to me is people oftentimes hear about the good money that you make or about the possibilities for career progression or all these other benefits that they hear about being a developer, but they don't think about everything that that's going to entail. And one of those things is working on a computer for 8 hours or more per day. Now, there's a lot of jobs out there that require you to use a computer these days. And I totally understand that people are getting more and more used to using computers, but I've still recently had people who wanted to learn development who really didn't know the basics of opening applications on a computer. Downloading an application and opening it up and learning how to use it was very difficult. And if that's difficult for you, I'm just going to tell you right now, you should not try to be a developer. We use a lot of different applications. We have to know how to use our computer. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a computer science degree and know all the ins and outs of how computers work, but you need to know how to use a computer and you need to actually enjoy spending time on your computer. If you find yourself spending time messing around with your computer, not just watching Netflix or something like that, but just doing things, playing with applications, learning new things with your computer, if you find yourself doing that on a regular basis, that's probably a good sign that you'll be okay working on a computer for 8 hours a day. What's interesting is I've actually worked with some developers who literally go home and they don't touch a computer for the rest of the evening because they get so sick and tired of being on the computer. I also know other developers who go home and they just spend the rest of the night on the computer learning new things because that's just what they enjoy. Now, both of those can be successful as developers, but the one who's going to be most successful is the one who really enjoys spending time working with that tool. Hey, if you find this information helpful, could you hit the like button for me? It helps me get this information to more people and hopefully help them on their journey to a successful career as well. The second question you have to ask yourself is this: do I like being alone? Now, I don't want you to get the wrong impression. I'm not saying that you're going to be lonely if you become a developer. What I'm saying is, are you okay with working by yourself and in solitude a lot without other people being around, without having conversations and discussions with other people all the time? That's one of the reasons why cubicles were invented, to give people space so that they weren't constantly being bothered by other people. But especially today, a lot of developers work remotely. And so we end up spending most of our time alone, just us and our computers and maybe Slack. So if we're interacting with our coworkers, it's generally online or maybe through like a video conference or something like that. It's not often face-to-face unless the company that you work for makes you come into the office. So you really need to ask yourself, if you're comfortable working by yourself, are you able to do that without getting discouraged or depressed because you're not really interacting with real people all the time? It's a very important question. Do you like being alone? Are you okay with working 8, 9, 10 hours a day by yourself? Okay, the third question that you need to ask yourself, again, maybe a little odd, but do I like thinking. Again, I told you this was going to be weird, but you need to understand that as a developer, most of the time that you spend doing your job is really thinking. In fact, I've heard numbers anywhere from 80% to 95% of a developer's job is thinking. Why is that? Well, because we're problem solvers at heart. See, what we're given is a problem, and we're supposed to fix that problem with code. Now, that takes time trying to figure out what the solution to the problem is. That takes time for trying to figure out what the code is that I need to write in order to make that solution happen. That takes time trying to figure out why the code that I wrote didn't work. And quite frankly, it is very draining physically to spend all day thinking. So if you're somebody who's prone to getting headaches a lot, maybe this is not the best career path for you. If you're somebody that really prefers to be outside, working in the sun or the cold and the rain, whatever it is right now when you're watching this video, if you prefer to be outside, this may not be the job for you. So 3 important questions that you need to ask yourself before you really dive into this career of development. Thanks for joining me, and if you'd like to get more mentoring advice, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified each time I upload a new video. Well, I hope these 3 weird questions are helpful to you as you determine whether or not this is the right career path for you. And if so, I'll see you on the next video.